What's up, y'all?
Yo.
Microphone officially on. If you're watching on Facebook, do me a
Hello.
favor and comment so that we can make sure we're seeing the live chat on Facebook. Doc, I got the audio thing, but thank you, buddy. He always goes, no audio the second there's no audio. I had a little mute
What's up,
button
Doc?
on my microphone, so we had to look out for that. How's Leo doing today?
Leo's doing all right. He got into a little scuffle. All right, I have comments on mine too.
Awesome. Perfect.
So, we're good.
What's up, guys? Good morning. Anyone watching, you already know who I am. I'm Bright Kelly. I'm a musician, author, and artist, and I guess content creator, although I really hate that fucking term. Kind of been active in the Philadelphia scene for a while. Presumably, if you're watching this, you know that, and you're a fan of what I do. So hello and welcome to Comedown Sunday Mornings, which is a show I made so that I had something to do on Sunday mornings after my usually horrifically busy Saturday nights.
And we got him out of the house this time.
And we got me out of the house this time. So welcome to Loudo Guitars. We got all this. This isn't like, I was going to joke and say that this was like my spare, like the walk-in closet in my spare room or something. But I don't have a 400-pound vise in my room, and I don't have a wall of wood between, I'm going to say...
Or a stack of guitars.
Right. I'm going to say there's wood over here that's over a century old.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say, if nothing else, these ones look like they certainly are.
100%. They came out of a hotel in Philly. They were put about 150 years ago.
There you go. So we got wood that's up to like 150 years old over here.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, do your thing. Doc says, "What's up, Peter?" We had like 18 people already let us know that we had no audio in the beginning, but we fixed it, y'all. We fixed it.
And this here is what we do with that old lumber.
Yes, the lumber turns into this, which is a Loudo guitar.
This is a Loudo GRT. It's actually being made for Jeremy Savo.
Nice.
Only thing I have left to do is actually cut the pickup cover, which I'm cutting out of Madagascar rosewood.
So we have a lefty on our hands. Huh?
Yeah, I make lefties just like righties.
And I think this is actually important because I know for a fact that our moderator is a lefty who regularly bitches about the lefty tax.
Yeah. Oh, there is no lefty tax at Loudo.
No lefty tax on Loudo instruments.
But yeah, this guy was made out of a beam that came out of a place in Philly. I think it's about 100 years old. And you can see maybe like the grain in it. We do a little bit of distressing to kind of give it that old like Barncaster type vibe.
You've also done like really beautiful contouring work. It's got like a really gentle belly cut on the back. It's got the little arm cut up here.
Belly cut there.
And that's just really clean work. And it's funny because it's a work in progress, and it's definitely nicer than a lot of finished guitars.
This one's actually one of the first prototypes. I actually prototyped the lefty before I did anything. 'Cause I'm actually a lefty myself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't play left-handed, but I am a lefty.
There's another famous guitar player who plays righty but is lefty. And I can't think who it is.
You know, it's.
I feel like Joe. That's a thing you would probably know, buddy. You let us know in the chat if you do. For the record, all day today, if you guys got questions while we're here, please pepper us with too many questions. Ask us all the questions, because otherwise we're just going to sit here and shoot the shit for an hour, which is also good for us. But I want to know what you guys are curious about as well. And you know, obviously, if you don't think of your questions now, or if you're watching this later when it's up on YouTube and we're not live, I will take the time to collect those questions and send them to Peter and get them answered and put those in the comments. Real quick, we're going to ask you to do this 3 times, but just tell everybody where to go to find your shit.
Obviously, we're on Facebook and Instagram. It's Loudo Guitars. And then on the web, we are www.loudoguitars. Right now we have a...
Is that .com?
.com, yep. www.loudoguitars.com.
I'd ask because my website is brightkelly.me.
Oh, really?
And brightkelly.live is a separate thing. So brightkelly.live that just dumps everybody, no matter where they're watching, into a live feed of these shows that I do on Sundays and Thursdays and sometimes elsewhere. But that dumps people into my my Twitch stream, essentially. Mm-hmm. But brightkelly.me, which I made as a joke because my friend Kate Nix was like, you should do brightkelly.me because you're going to Bright Kelly everybody. And I said, like, I'm a verb now. And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, I can't argue with that.
I was a little upset that he didn't bring a guitar with him today.
It's funny that I did.
What's up with that?
It's funny I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's in the car.
Oh, all right.
And probably at some point today I'll grab it and do a song because you guys will kill me if I don't.
Yes, I'll kill you if you don't.
TechBard says, sorry to everyone in the chat that doesn't geek out over guitars. There are a handful of folks here that do. Yeah, I think most of the people who are going to tune into this one are probably at least a little bit going to be into guitars.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you watching?
Yeah.
Like it's what he does. He's the
And it's
guitar
cool
guy.
too. I mean, it's building stuff is there's plenty of like
I feel like you
cool
get a lot of
things.
traffic from guys who are not specifically into guitars, but also into woodworking in general.
I
Too.
get a lot. I do get a lot of woodwork.
Because in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, isn't guitar building kind of like high risk?
I
woodworking?
always say like woodworking is like building a guitar is 90% woodworking,
Yeah.
10% luthiery. So it's like if you look at it that way, it's like woodworking it's an awesome art form.
Yeah.
But luthiery, which is guitar building, is like one of the highest forms of woodworking.
Yeah, it's craftsmanship. It's
Yeah.
not carpentry.
Well, I mean, woodworking is craftsmanship too.
I agree,
Carpentry
I agree.
is craftsmanship.
I've seen like
the
dovetail
difference
joints
is,
and shit. I
the
can't do that
difference.
stuff.
The difference is that it's not plus or minus a quarter of an inch. It's plus or minus 0.005 of an inch.
Right, like I said,
Yeah.
high risk woodworking.
Yes. Like,
If you get it wrong,
Let me
it
see
is
here.
wrong, and there is no going back.
let me see if this is actually the right one.
Next.
Yeah, like for instance, that's actually not that body. I'll be right back, guys.
So we're gonna get into a lot of funny stuff today, I think, and I don't know what it is yet, but I also got told that there's gonna be some news breaking on the show today, and I'm excited about that. Question: what the fuck does luthiery mean? That's our moderator asking the questions
Yeah,
he knows
I got
other
you.
people want answers to.
Yeah, so
do you know why it's called luthiery? Because I don't, but I am
It's
willing to look it up.
It's a Latin word, and I think it's definitely derived from the lute.
That would
which
make
is-
sense.
Yeah, and luthiery is basically it's the building of stringed instruments. So, but speaking of that tolerance that you have in luthiery, it's generally plus or minus 0.005 of an inch. As you can see here, we have two pieces, a neck and a body. Both of them are separate. I do this all the time, so you've probably seen it if you follow me. And here we go.
Oh yeah. That is a tight fit,
Yeah,
dude.
that's how that goes. At least that's how it goes over here at Loudo.
You are definitely correct that it comes from the word lute.
Yep.
And I didn't know this, but did you know that there's a subtype of luthier called the archeteer? The archeteer
No, what is that?
specifically refers to the guys who make bows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would imagine, I like just like thinking about it, like early luthiers, would build violins, lutes,
Yeah.
and other cultures probably like ouds and stuff.
I found out that across. I just found out, and this is interesting to me. In America, the word is more commonly luthier,
Mhm.
but in Europe, they say it like you say it, luthiery.
Yeah.
Um,
No, luthier is
it's-
the person that does it.
Right, but luthiery,
Luthiery.
both words exist, luthiery
Yeah.
and luthiery.
Yeah, but luthiery is the art of building.
Correct.
Yes.
Some people now, specifically in America, will use luthiery
Mhm.
to mean specifically guys who make plucked instruments like guitars, whereas luthiery refers to a broader category, guys who make anything.
Yeah.
So I guess you could be either, but you mostly do guitars.
Just for now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll see what the
Yeah.
demand is like.
I
Well,
have-
and basses.
It's not even demand. I already have. I'm sitting on about 19 designs that,
That's awesome.
and they just keep coming. And they span like all over. We do guitars, we do basses.
Well, I keep joking
lap
I want a
steels.
tenor.
A tenor.
I keep joking, you gotta get a tenor
A lot of
guitar
people
going.
ask for tenors, but
Well, because there's only one game in town for those, basically.
Yeah.
Like, everyone who wants a tenor guitar has to get it from Eastman.
okay.
Like, they're the
Yeah.
only... I mean, there are a few others making tenor guitars. Like, I own a tenor guitar that was made by, like, Recording King.
Mhm.
It's like a $200.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's
it
cool. I
works.
love it. It
Yeah.
works. But like, there's not, like, there's not real competition.
And there's also not like a high end one.
Exactly.
you know.
And like, the Eastman ones are fine, but they're
So
like...
that's
$5
one of the
more.
issues that you have with doing this is that like I don't do like one offs.
No,
you know
you're trying to do
I'm
one-offs.
a production guy. Like as you can see, there's like stacks over here. The whole idea is that I try to keep the prices down
Yeah.
by building in volume.
Right. Of course, because a one-off guy is charging $3,000 to $5,000 at minimum. I
and
think,
eating
sometimes.
ramen.
Mhm.
Because it's a lot goes into designing just a guitar. So when I have people with requests like you, where it's like I want to get a tenor guitar. It's like it's not as simple as just that, because I have to weigh
can you sell 20 of them, 30 of them?
how much design time versus how many am I going to get rid of.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, so sorry to burst your bubble, but tenor
it's a long
tenor
shot.
is definitely low on my priority.
As it should be.
Yeah.
There's not a huge market for them.
Yeah.
It's like famous guys who play tenor guitar that I can think of. I got the guy from the Counting Crows. That's what I got.
Yeah, I love them.
I do too.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
so good at
they're
it. But
great.
and it's funny because you probably could sell a tenor guitar to him, but I'm not sure he would go for it because he cheats. His tenor guitars, he just takes off the E strings, the top and bottom E strings of a regular guitar, and retunes the
It's
middle
like
four.
it's like Keith. You know?
Yeah,
He
he
just drops the
cheats.
low
He
E.
just makes a tenor. Eastman, I know them. Yeah, I know you know Eastman. You're one of the guys who complains about their
Who's that?
so Tech Bart is Joe. Joe's our moderator,
Okay.
and he's almost always the busiest guy in our chat on Sunday
Okay.
mornings.
I can't believe I'm up and moving this much on a Sunday morning. Yeah.
I can now.
Yeah.
3 maybe 4 months ago, no.
Yeah.
But as you know, I now have a very demanding new person in my life
Yes.
who insists
Yes.
that I don't sleep in.
Yeah.
And so my wife, who is watching right now, got a little extra sleep this morning because she went to she went to bed at like 7 or something like that, and then at like 7:30, our daughter got up again, and I was just like, I can't wake her. I know she just got back to sleep, so I spent like the next couple of hours hanging out with Avery, who was
As cute as a button.
yeah, she's awesome,
Yeah.
and she's trying to write songs already. I'm convinced because she just doesn't stop making noise. Which is why, if for anybody watching, if you're a member of my Patreon, I posted a recording of a new song that I'm working on just the other day. I did this demo recording of a song, and it's totally unusable. So I just gave it to Patreon because the whole background is it's just her making weird little noises every time there's a silence.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
anything, like if Dad's not actively singing, there she goes.
Yeah, speaking of, Zach Lepresti, if you're out there, and Robin, congratulations on the new baby.
Doc Rock Gear Guru. So Doc wants to know: is there any plans for something that satisfies the Firebird kind of players?
There absolutely is. That's going to probably be a 2022 thing. Right now, the current build schedule is we're doing GRTs, which are these guys over here.
Which is what I'm getting.
Yeah, that's what he's getting. We're actually making his out of a piece of a door from the Divine Lorraine.
Yeah, from the Divine Lorraine. I'm very excited about that.
That's going to be pretty cool.
And I'm going to gently massage the situation so that my production line GRT still has a unique personality.
Oh, it definitely will. They all end up with a
know.
unique personality.
I've seen them all already.
No matter how much you do something in a production scenario, everything comes out.
Which is, I think, testament to how much you care about what you're doing.
Yeah, well, because the thing is, like, I do use a lot of machines and jigs and stuff to build my instruments, but at the end of the day, that only gets done so much. At the end of the day, you still got to use your hands to really tune those things in, you know? Mm-hmm. Where did we stray from on that? What was the...
No. The question was about Firebirds, but it turns out Doc was also letting me know that Dave Bryson's fake tenor guitar is also a Firebird.
Oh, okay.
And then apparently Ani DeFranco plays archtops, and I'm curious how much harder are archtops than
It depends on what you're doing. So that brings me back to where I was going. So right now our current build schedule is the Recluse, which is this guy back here. We're doing GRTs, Imperium, and the Kyber, 6 and 7 string on that one. And that's probably going to take us up through the end of the year, although we are going to squeeze in a few basses. Anton, if you're seeing this, yes, they are coming before Christmas. And then I have plans for the very beginning of next year. I have an arch top that I plan on putting out, which is actually very interesting. I'm going to leave it at that because it's got some proprietary things on it. It is the ultimate gigging instrument. I have a feeling when that one drops, we're going to have real problems with keeping up.
I think this is the one you've given me a few insights on.
Yes. You're definitely gonna need one. You know?
Me being a gigging guitar player, I do me doing like 3-digit shows a year. I do over 100 shows every year, sometimes over 200 shows a year, and I really don't ever want to carry 4 or 5 guitars to a show.
So the whole idea behind that guitar is it's a guitar that you can bring to an electric gig. You can bring it to an open mic. You can bring it anywhere. You know, it's like, and you can plug directly into a PA. You can plug directly into an amplifier.
That's
It is
amazing.
meant to be the instrument that you can just go anywhere. It's like your amp craps out on you, plug that thing right into PA, and you'll still sound like a million
You've got a
bucks.
fly gig and you need to keep it tight. This is the guitar.
Yeah. Or you can run stereo in it and send it all over. It's
Oh.
yeah.
That's interesting.
And we make a pedal. I have a pedal developed that actually allows you to do all your selection on the floor, and like that thing's gonna be wild.
That sounds amazing.
So yeah, it's actually based off of my old #1 guitar, which was like a 1959 Guild, and of course I got a hold of it. I added an extra pickup, and then I added some other pickups, and then I added some options and wired it crazy, and I was actually playing at Porch Fest yesterday. Matt Ian was playing that guy.
Infinity Terminus. So that's Fletcher. Fletcher says, messages I got this morning about failed pots make me think of why I want instruments without such things. So he also does some work, more tech.
I think I
stuff.
read that. I think
it was on the comment today.
Yeah.
And I think he said Bob Mould reached out to him today about some guitar stuff, and he's going, guys, I'm not even in Philly right now. Fletcher's a former neighbor of mine who now lives in Ohio.
So the trick with pots is like one thing it's really good to do with if what's his name, Fletcher?
Fletcher, yeah.
Fletcher. So one thing that's really good to do with pots is a lot of people have problems with them because they'll get loose and then they spin the wires inside. So make sure that your potentiometers are always tight. Obviously, don't over tighten them and try to break stuff, but you make sure that they're always tight. And if they're ever getting scratchy on you, I literally just open the electronics cavity and then take naphtha on a Q-tip and drop it in there, and then you rotate the pot, cleans it, and usually you're good to go.
Fletch has a long history, in his own words, of doing whatever it took to get a gig to happen. When somebody came in and was like, okay, well, we're here, we set up, and all our crap just shit the bed. And Fletch was spent a long time being the guy who would go, okay, I'm trying, let's see what happens, let's get it going. Very DIY sort of punk scene stuff. Which I think is awesome.
Tune into Luthiery Live. We're actually starting that back up next month, and it's all it is just like us doing like tips about how to do different things on guitars. And I believe we're still talking it over, but I believe that we're going to be doing a completely hand-built T-style guitar, which we're going to give away to the viewers. So everybody tune in. It'll be on the Loudo page, and it's called Luthiery Live. I'm hoping that we do it on Wednesdays, a little bit after dinner time. So
he agrees with your naphtha trick.
Yeah, naphtha's great.
He said he used it on a 64 SG.
Naphtha is very safe to use on your instruments because it doesn't hurt lacquer finishes. Obviously, you don't want to go hog wild and pour it all over the place. Keep flames away from it because it really is just generic lighter fluid. Don't use lighter fluid because lighter fluid has a chemical added to it to give it a different smell. So don't use that in your electronics. But naphtha, I mean, you could in a pinch, but I wouldn't recommend it.
No. Don't dump your Zippo into your guitar.
Yes. This
is what we're saying
naphtha,
to you.
Yeah. Naphtha works really good for cleaning out electronics.
Thank you, Joe. Joe's making sure all your links get posted as you're talking
nice,
about.
Dude. Thanks, bro.
And then we had a funny message up there that said, Eastman being one of the better companies for lefties, said also he can think of a certain company that starts with a G that is notoriously unfriendly to lefties.
Yo,
everybody doesn't mean Guild.
No, Guild's almost defunct. They're made by Cordoba now.
Are they really?
Yeah.
That actually bums me out a little bit when you think of the legacy of Guilds.
Oh yeah. I actually take a lot of pride in the fact that Guild is like
Henry
is has spent some time in New Jersey. And,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I love Guilds. They're I think as far as
play bass on a Guild Pilot. Is that one? Is that a Guild bass? Guild Pilot?
Yeah.
I learned to play bass on a 5-string Guild Pilot that my friend George loaned me right before the pandemic. I played bass a little, but I worked on bass over the pandemic to do the record that I did, Flutter and Wow. Hey, quick promo, buy my album, brightkelly.me/flutter. Joe will put it in the links. But as I was working on this record, I borrowed a bass off my bass player in one of my bands, George. And it was supposed to be like, hey man, let me borrow this for 2 weeks and get a couple of tracks done. And then the pandemic hit, and a full year and a half later, he's like, do you just want to buy this thing off me, man? I've learned that I can live without it now. Yeah. And I was just like, no, man, it's got a 5th string, and I hate it. I want 4.
Oh, they confuse me so much. Whenever I play a 5-string, I always end up I'm like, why am I sounding off with everybody? And I'm like, oh, I'm playing a 5th string.
We got a distance viewer right now. We got a Scottish guy tuning in from Wales.
Hey, what's
up,
Wales?
Henry? Henry is let me see if I can sum up Henry. Henry is a former professional wrestler.
Yes.
which is awesome.
Yes.
And has a great YouTube channel where he reviews movies, like, you know, like best movies of this decade or that decade, or you know, reacts to trailers and things like that. And has sort of already, we've never met in person, but Henry has kind of become one of the guys I go to when I want to know if a movie is worth going to see. And I'll just like see what he said about it, because so far, always on the money.
Is going to see movies even a thing right now?
It seems to be lagging quite a bit. Yeah, we're like probably 40 seconds behind most of you guys anyway.
Yeah.
That's always the case. We're always going to get to your chat answers kind of like late. That's just kind of the way that it works.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question because I actually don't know the answer. We've now been hanging out for what, year and a half?
I think, about that. Yeah. Year and some months.
Yeah. Somewhere in there. We actually talked about it the last time we did a show together. It was almost exactly a year ago. The last time we did something like this.
23rd of September.
Yep. Which was Luthiery Live.
Yeah, and it was about humidity and your guitars, which all you guys should start looking into humidifying your guitars right now.
Yeah.
We'll drop a link. I'll have to send it over in the comments. But yeah, humidify your guitars. You will save yourself lots of money and lots of heartache with your instruments.
No apologies necessary. Apparently sometimes, or for some people, the audio is lagging a little behind the video. Hey man, live streaming. It happens. We kind of just roll with it. My question was, I don't want you to like take forever with it because I'm sure it's sort of a boring question, but tell me the origin of the Loudo thing, and if you can like kind of like a summary version, the nutshell version of like what it's taken from, hey, I want to start a company and build guitars, to I have a production line of guitars and I'm getting pre-orders faster than I can deal with them.
So I was 18 years old, maybe 19. I was 19 years old. I went to school, Roberto Venn in Phoenix, Arizona, and I left, and I was like, I'm going to go home, I'm going to build guitars. Nobody knew who I was, so I was like, building guitars, nobody's buying them. So I'm like, okay, let me repair guitars, because I learned how to do that. So then I repaired guitars for a shop up in Morrisville, PA, Josie Guitar Repair. What's up, Joe? He actually had something on Discovery, I believe, which he like built guitars out of like car parts and stuff.
I love crap like that. I know it's gimmicky, but it is funny.
Yeah, so if you guys are up in Bucks County, check out Josie Guitar Repair. That dude's awesome. And then I worked through, and I just accepted my role as a repair guy for a lot of years. And then probably close to 10 years ago, I was like, I'm going to start building guitars. And I came up with this sketch, so I'm left-handed. I came up with this sketch of an instrument, which I actually drew with my right hand. That's something weird about me. I generally draw with my other hand.
So you're kind of like fake ambidextrous.
I'm
like,
very ambidextrous.
So I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I bat. And I play hockey lefty. I bat lefty. Like that.
Oh, I go, but I can hit both sides on those. It's like shooting pool. I'm like confused. I'm like, do I go or like bowling? Same thing. Makes
him very dangerous.
Yeah. So I can definitely knock out a bunch of shots because you have like twice as many angles.
Yeah, that's like almost upsetting to hear.
Yeah. So probably like 8 to 10 years ago, I decided to start up and just like build guitars, and I had this like dream that I was going to change the guitar world and build everything by hand and be able to get out and make a living. And that wasn't the case because I am the only person that supports myself, and I just couldn't just like hunker down and do it. And I found out I built 27 instruments that year, and I found out the hard way that it is, when I looked at the price of what I was able to sell them for and the amount of time that I was putting into them.
I'm assuming it was below minimum wage for you.
Oh, I would have been better working at McDonald's.
Yep.
I would have been better working at McDonald's. So I had about a 3-month period where I pretty much wanted to burn this place down, and then I got back on the horse, and the whole goal of my time back then was to build enough instruments so that I could then fund somebody else programming CNC machines and then shipping me the parts back.
Got you. So you wanted to start designing and then farming out some of the work.
Yes, because like I wanted to send them like sketches of stuff and then have somebody else that knew how to do CNC do the work and then send it to me.
And because I'm in the shop, I know I know what the spoiler alert for the next part of the story is.
Yeah,
so please continue because I'm already laughing a little bit.
Yeah. So then, that didn't work out, and I about 3 months went on, and I just don't give up. So I got back on the horse, and I went to a makerspace in Philadelphia called NextFab.
I know NextFab very
Yeah.
well. Another great guitar builder I know, Neil Porter. What's up, Neil? If you happen to be checking this out, Taxidelphia Guitar Company. Used to be up here in Philly, relocated to Austin. Hasn't been putting stuff out for a while, but good guy, good friend. Also worked at NextFab.
Oh, cool.
Also worked out of there all the time.
So I went to NextFab, and they had this like amazing deal that I'm pretty sure I broke.
Is it the unlimited 1 month thing?
Oh, they had they had this deal where you could take unlimited classes for a year for like $1,000, I think it was, and I was like, sign me up. So in 5 or 6 months, I think I took like 56 classes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so long story short, I went there. I took a couple CAD classes, and I found out really quickly that I was really good at CAD. Within 3 months, I was tutoring people on how to do CAD. And then I started to learn how to do tool pathing and stuff like that. Now here we are, multiple years later, and I'm designing crazy stuff on CAD now, and tool pathing, and it's like, so basically what happened was I had this dream of hand building guitars. It crashed and burned because it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I wanted somebody else to do the work for me.
That crashed and burned.
And well, that crashed and burned with the hand build stuff, So then it was either give up, or it was
adapt.
Yeah, become smarter, become the guy that you need.
Yeah.
And that's no easy task. Like that takes a lot of time.
That'd be like a hashtag. If we were hashtagging sections of the show, we would definitely have the bottom of the screen right now would say hashtag become the guy you need.
Yeah.
You know that thing where
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, I know a guy. Stop knowing a guy. Be a
Be
guy.
the guy. Yeah,
Be
that's
the
true.
guy.
That is true.
That's fantastic.
And and I gotta say it's amazing because now I actually have help in the shop here. We got my good buddy Tor is working full time with me here.
That's awesome.
And and I'm actually it's like the company support me, which is great. I never thought it's like that was just a pipe dream, for a long time. And the beautiful thing is that now, because I became the guy that I need, which was tough because there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into becoming the guy you need, all aspects of your life.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But now I can come up with a design, okay, and within 2 hours, I can have it physical.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can go,
at
here's my
least-
design, what's it feel like?
Yeah, at least prototyped out. It's
Right.
not ready for production. Getting something into production takes quite a bit, but it's
Sure.
great because it's like I don't have to pay any setup fees. I don't have to pay any time fees. It's like I went out, I bought all the machinery.
Yeah, you own 3
everything.
CNCs, right?
Yeah, 4 CNCs.
4 CNC machines.
That cut wood, and then I have multiple others. I have metal cutting, plastic cutting. I have all kinds of them.
And in my experience, there's 2 kinds of guys that own CNCs. There's Peter, guys who design and use the CNC for what it's intended to make designs come to life in an efficient manner. And then there's guys who download plans off the internet. And put them in their CNC machines.
There's also guys who just like ram the bit into the table. And
I've
break
seen
them.
those guys too.
I've been that guy.
But like
I've been that guy.
I worked with a guy to build a guitar once,
Mhm.
and I thought I thought he was like this extraordinary
Mhm.
talent, and I realized belatedly, and thankfully I ended up not hiring him to build my guitar, but I realized belatedly that he didn't really know how to use what he had. He didn't have the fundamental skill set to understand what was going into it. He just knew how to download plans for a Telecaster or whatever off the internet and feed it into his computer and let the CNC machine do everything.
The number
It's very
one
different.
tool, the number one tool in the guitar shop is 100% your brain. It's like if you can't think of it the right way and you can't like envision how it gets built,
Right.
it's like you're gonna have a very hard time making it because it's like just having a CNC does not just magically build these guitars for you.
No.
It's like there's so much stuff that goes into actually making it a viable way of creating instruments. Like I spent last Thursday, I spent 8 hours making one jig, okay? And that's between cutting time, processing lumber, designing everything, and just making sure everything was perfect.
Is that jig there?
That jig over there, yeah. And it is literally I made this jig to make one hole.
Yeah.
Okay, one hole. And that's the part that like people don't understand. Like as a luthier and a man who builds instruments, people are just like, they're like, well, just do it. We'll just do it. And you're like, you don't get it. Like, just doing it, I'm going to eat ramen every single day.
Forever.
Okay?
Yeah.
But doing it the right way takes time, and it takes development, and it's like, because guess what? You might spend a few hours making something.
Yeah.
You know, and then find out that you were wrong.
You actually sort of
know?
a little bit just sold, in my opinion, you just did a lot to sell Loudo guitars, and I'm not trying to make it a sales pitch,
Yeah.
but he spent 8 hours making one jig to
I'll grab it.
the whole reason behind it was to make one very small, very simple thing about the guitar better for the end user, i.e. you, the player. And it's a thing that
We
on
made a
most
jig.
guitars would go unnoticed. They would go good enough.
We made a jig to make this hole.
Yeah.
Okay? You could just plow a drill press through that thing. But here's the deal. To put this in there, alright? And if you can see here, this lip comes up. Right here. Alright? That don't fly on a Loudo. That don't look right. Normally a regular T-style would have a flat spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right
Which
here.
is what mine has.
Huh?
My
all,
T has that.
Yeah, all T styles have it, and that's because these jacks don't have a radius on them.
Right.
You know, they just have they're flat, so you need a flat spot there. But this guitar looks way too sexy to
let
have a
something
flat
else.
spot right here.
Yeah.
So
or
you know,
to say, okay, that lip is fine.
oh yeah, no, that don't fly in my lip.
And that's the thing a lot of guitar makers do. Just go, okay, well, it's good enough. I think that's a craftsmanship thing. It's an artisan thing.
Yeah.
We had a couple of cool comments.
Yeah.
One of them is that Groves Guitars in Arizona tried the custom only model themselves, and it's a guy Fletcher knows. And apparently he had to spend a very long time doing it as his side while working a series of horrible day jobs.
Yes. So
we were talking about that today.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so like here, you know, I've seen I have a lot of luthiery friends, and I follow some other luthiers and stuff like that, and I see a lot of people, and what they do is like, it's constantly this like game of robbing Peter, no pun intended, to pay Paul.
Right.
You know? And where it's like, I need to finish this build, so like they get a deposit in, and they're like, all right, cool, I got this money, right? And then they use that to buy the lumber, and then they start working on that instrument. While they're working on that instrument, they're like, oh, wait a second, rent is due.
And I've spent that deposit.
And I've spent that deposit to make this guitar.
Yeah.
So now I need to get another deposit. And then everything gets back ordered.
It's like running downhill.
Yes, exactly.
You can't do it
My
for
brother
long.
made me do that one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, rather than you know, playing that game of catch up, I decided, let's front end this thing, and I went out and I worked like a dog as a repairman for 8 years, and just saving my money and buying tools, buying lumber, and now here we sit. I mean, like, you can see all of this lumber in this shop. We're ready to.
It's not the only shop here with full of. There's another building full of wood, by the way.
And it's like, and you don't even have all the wood in the shop, but you know, the whole purpose of that was just so that I can now build guitars at will. I don't have to wait for you to put one on order. I can just grab it and say, you know what? I want to make a guitar that's quilted maple with Macaray on the back, you know, or I want to make a guitar that is flame maple with Spanish cedar, which, by the way, Spanish cedar is actually not Spanish, nor is it cedar. It is a cousin of mahogany, and it just happens to be incredibly amazing to work with. Or I want to make something more traditional that is ash. Okay, so it's like I can just go through, or I want to make something that's completely featherweight. This guitar body right here.
This weighs nothing, you guys.
Yeah, that guitar body weighs 2 pounds, 4.8 ounces.
I joked.
All right?
I joked that this was so heavy that if he didn't correctly compensate the balance, the neck would tilt the guitar.
And
over.
then I yapped at him and was like, "Nah, dog.
And
That's all about geometry." That's
and he
not
did.
about-
He immediately was like, "Yeah, but it won't, because I'm not gonna forget
Yeah.
to do those things."
Yeah.
We had a cool comment. It doesn't require an answer, but just wanted to call it out because it's fun. We were talking about be the guy you need. Henry Higgins says in wrestling they say don't train to look good, train to be good.
Yeah.
Looking good either it happens or it doesn't based on that. I think that's true. That's like when I was a fitness trainer, which I guess technically I sort of still am. Well, when I was a fitness trainer, it was my thing was functional fitness. I don't like if you want to train for aesthetics, I'm not super interested in being the guy for you. But if you want to learn how to push your cardiovascular system to its limits and increase your endurance, if you want to learn how to run for longer periods of time, if you want to learn how to lift more, move more, do more, if you want to learn how to make your body feel better, I'm your guy. We had a great question here. CNC stands for what in this context? Can we talk about wood sourcing? Because the grain on, and I'm not sure who he means, Jeremy's guitar is too sexy. Is that the guitar that we were looking at?
Yeah, that's the...
Okay, the grain on Jeremy's guitar is too sexy for daytime television. So explain CNC and then talk about how you source wood.
Computer numerical control. So basically what that is...
It's not CNC, it's CNC.
Yeah. What that is basically I take designs that I CAD out and then I write toolpaths for them.
CAD is computer assisted design, by the way. It's just it's using software to create your designs and 3D renderings and things like that.
And then there's also a thing called CAM, which is computer aided machining.
Yeah.
Okay, so the workflow here is...
I did a year of architecture school.
Okay. So the workflow here is CAD, you draw your design, then you do CAM. Okay? So you have your design, it's working. Everything is functional in there. All your parts are where you want them. All your holes are where you want them. Then
sorry.
Hey, children are watching this, right? So
continuing on about the holes.
So all your holes are where you want them, and then you have CAM, which is computer aided machining, and that is where you assign motion to the tool path, which is what's going to cut out the part on the CNC machine, and then that outputs a file, and the file is all coordinate based. Okay, it's a G-code file. At least that's what I use. There are some other types of files that CNC machines.
Hope you guys are getting a sense of how hard it was to master this and how intense it is to go, I can't find a guy to do this stuff for me. I'm going to learn to do it. This is intense.
It wasn't that. It was, I can't afford the guy. You know?
There you go.
And it's, it's like, and I am so happy. I mean, it took a long time, and there's a lot of people that have been around wondering why I don't just build guitars, and it's because, like, building an instrument.
Well, you do now.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. It's a great feeling. This is a 21-year.
I haven't known you that long, and I still knew you before that was true.
Yeah.
It's that new.
Yeah. Everybody always wonders why you don't just put one out or why you don't just do this, but they don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. Like it's a trek, like to get to that point. What was the other part of his question?
How do you source wood?
How do I source wood? I have a ton of different places I go for wood.
Seems like some of it's architectural salvage.
Some of it. Yeah. So he was talking about the guitar I had up here earlier. That wood was a beam in Philly. It actually started just like this.
Oh, cool.
This is how that guitar started. Hang on to that.
Yeah, we're gonna show you the before and after, guys.
Yeah.
This is like seeing an ova and then a baby.
So, this is where it starts. This is reclaimed wood.
I wonder if that puff of dust showed up on camera. That would have been great.
And then this is where it ended. And then you can see here, as I get closer, let me see if I can get a decent, non-glaring shot. As I get closer...
That is really nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. You can see how, the grain is kind of, raised.
Now, did you treat the grain to make it accentuate that way?
See this right here? These two parts right there are actually old nail holes. I think you can see them on the side.
Yeah, you definitely are. Yeah, right over here.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
Yeah. And it's sometimes you just gotta let stuff like that be cool and let it be on the instrument.
Nail holes.
And, but you can see the grain of this instrument is very, very pronounced. And I do that. That's a little bit of the trickery that I've learned throughout the years.
Henry says it's tiger stripey.
Yeah, well, as you see this here, what you're looking at is this is a stained instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody's always like, they see instruments and they're like, oh, you got to stain the wood. All right, here's the deal. Most of the guitars that you see that you think are stained are not stained.
No,
they're actually toned. So the difference between staining and toning, it's just like Mexican food. You know, it's like Mexican food. You got like 10 ingredients. Depends on how you mix them up and whether they come in a side dish with chips or with a tortilla as to what type of Mexican food you're going to eat. Yeah. Okay? But it's all the same ingredients. Staining and toning are the same thing. The difference is staining something, you take the stain and apply it directly to the lumber.
Right.
Okay? Then toning is where, and then you put clear over top of it.
Right.
Toning is where you seal the wood first, and then you mix your stain into the clear.
Oh,
and then
so
you spray it over.
The top coat.
So yeah, so it's much more even.
That's interesting.
Whereas you can see on that guitar I previously had, it's like you have, so wood has two different types of rings. You have hard rings and soft rings.
Sure.
Okay, and is the OK counter going out there? Because I say it a lot.
I wasn't going to comment on the OK counter,
I do it
but
all
it is
the
a
time.
thing.
I
It
do
is
it
for
all
sure
the
a
time.
thing.
And when Annie's here, he's always like, OK.
Yeah.
So
Fucking Andy.
oh, I love it.
I'm kidding.
Andy's coming back to Luthiery Live too, and we got a new guy tour coming in, so there will be 3 of us doing
Henry
these
says
builds.
he loves learning new shit, by the way. He's
Oh,
enjoying
cool,
this.
Henry! Tune into Luthiery Live. It's going to be great, and we're going to be making all our own templates.
I
for
also
everything.
guest star from time to time.
Yeah, he'll be there.
I'll come sing some songs.
We're going to make all our own templates while we're here because we have CNC machines, and we'll do that prior. And after the show is done and we're done with the templates, we're actually going to, give them away to somebody on the show, and the body will be given away as well.
Oh, that's fun. So if you need an excuse to tune in,
yeah,
free guitar stuff.
Yeah, free guitar stuff, exactly. So you have a hard grain and a soft grain on lumber, and both of them accept stain differently. So that's why that other guitar,
that's why you see
those patterns in there. Is because the soft grain absorbs the stain differently than the hard grain does.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, if you didn't know, the difference between hardwood and softwood has nothing to do with the hardness of the wood. Go
Really?
Figure. Okay.
Okay, that's news to me.
Yeah.
Even,
okay.
And
So,
I'm a nerd.
Yeah. So get this: hardwood has leaves, softwood has cones.
Wow.
Has nothing to do with the hardness. You will find softwood that's harder than hardwood, and hardwood that's softer than softwood.
So hickory's a hardwood, right?
Yeah, it has leaves, right?
I think so.
There you go.
I just wanted to say the name of the tree.
I was just teaching kids yesterday.
Weird side note, just because I'm in your shop looking around. I wish you guys, actually, maybe at some point we might give the camera a little circle.
A little
so you can see
messy,
the rest of it.
but yeah, we'll show you.
It's amazing. So I've been here when it's clean, and I've been here now, and it is quite messy in here. But
it's not that bad though.
It's a working mess.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I can tell you from looking around, he knows where everything is here, and this.
Well,
is
we also just moved a bunch of stuff, so we had this shot.
This is the chaos of creation, and it's true. Not only did we move a bunch of stuff, he moved this monstrosity, which is heavy enough that if I tried to push it right now, it would tip me over before I could get it moving. I watched him move it twice because he wanted to make sure you guys could see the wood in the stack of guitars. And it's also it helps too because we wanted to be camera ready.
Yeah.
Which is why we found out today that we both
have the same warm up.
We have the same routine before we go on video, which is the corniest thing ever. But it's totally. I mean, it is so fucking corny.
Yeah.
But we both do a bunch of push-ups before we get on camera.
Why not?
So he's over there doing push-ups, and I'm over there doing push-ups.
It's pretty good.
But the side note, because I was looking around the shop, is that the headstock from my tailor?
No.
Okay.
Leo.
I thought that was the headstock from my wrecked Taylor. I have a headstock that looks a lot like that. There's somewhere in his possession is
it's in that room over there.
The remnants of a guitar of mine that was run over that eventually he's going to resurrect for me. Oh, that was a bad day.
Yeah, I've been there.
A guy ran over my guitar.
I watched somebody put their foot through the first acoustic guitar I ever built.
Oh, God.
You know?
My roommate in college, one of my roommates in college left the balcony door open in February, directly next to the first acoustic guitar that my mom bought me. And I woke up in the morning to find the neck snapped in half straight down the center, and I was just like, and I was 19.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing. I was just like,
See if we can
I just wanted to cry. It was bad. I mean, it was an Ibanez.
We're trying to get the dog out right now.
Density of wood is also related to climate, says Fletch. So some species may have different qualities based on latitude or altitude, which is absolutely true.
So speaking of, there's two types of ash. Okay, so you have northern ash and you have southern ash.
Right.
For one, if you're ever buying lumber for a guitar, you want southern ash. You do not want swamp ash. Okay.
Even though they say swamp ash.
Pause before we get into that debate. Okay. Here's why you don't want swamp ash. Swamp ash and southern ash are the same thing. The difference is that when you buy swamp ash, they know you're doing luthiery stuff with it,
so they mark
and
it up.
The prices go up.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you look for southern ash. Ash is very hard to get right now. But for instance, like right now, we have a problem up here in the Northeast with the Ash Borer Beetle. Okay, so New Jersey's been cutting down all their ash trees, and it's actually sad because like I've been down. I love the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yeah.
And I think I'm heading there in a couple weeks. Me and Leo are gonna take a little bike ride.
Nice.
And he is not coming after treats right now.
Like, what's up, dude? People want to see you.
There we got him. Let's see if we can. We're fishing for dogs right now. So, you go down the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Say hi to my mom.
Hey, Mrs. Kelly.
That works. She's Mrs. Marciano, but
That's
Mrs.
fine.
Kelly is her maiden name.
You have raised a very beautiful son, and I think he's great.
Thank you.
So, I go riding down the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it's lush. Like the forest down in North Carolina are like a couple drops of rain away from being a rainforest.
Whoa.
Okay, and then you get to one spot, and there's just a dead forest.
Which is what Fletch is talking about right here.
And it's the Ash Borer Beetle. So basically, New Jersey has been cutting down all this ash.
Yep, that's what Fletch just said in there. He said the emerald ash borers led to swaths of trees being chipped down.
Yes. So I have a friend who runs a domestic Leo. Listen to that.
Fishing for dogs.
Yeah. We almost got him.
He walked right past
bud.
me.
Come here.
You dope.
Come here. Here we go. Look what I got. I got some trees.
You guys want to see Leo?
Yeah, he's the best. No.
This is Leo. Continue the story.
He's a lover. So, and one of my friends runs a local mill that mills all domestic hardwoods that come from the area. And he came across, he basically has an unlimited supply of ash.
Oh, wow.
Right? So he was like, dude, you use ash to build guitars. Like, why don't you come get some of this, turn it into lumber, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I was like, where is the ash coming from? And then he told me it's from New Jersey. And I'm like, it don't work. Okay, now that is where you get PVT40s. So all those PVs that are ash, and you pick them up, and it's like your shoulder, it's like just like falls down.
Yeah, I really
They're
do.
super heavy. They're made with northern ash.
Got ya.
Okay, so and it's like ash. Like this is ash, and this guitar is not lightweight by any means, but it's also not a boat anchor.
Right.
So southern ash is what you want. So yes, density does.
So if
change.
I got the story correctly, you want swamp ash, but you want to find a guy that's not calling it that.
Yes. Yeah. You want to go to the lumberyard and ask for southern ash.
So you want them to think you're building anything other than guitars with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to build some fireplace mantles.
And always buy more lumber than you need because you're gonna screw up. Yeah.
I tell people that if you're a cook, don't go to freaking Williams and Sonoma to buy your kitchen supplies. Go to the restaurant supply stores.
Yep.
Go to the guys who supply the there's a wok that I wanted that was in one of the fancy kitchens, and it was like $130. The exact same one, restaurant supply store, $23.99. You gotta go where they are selling it for specific purposes.
Speaking of lumber and where to go, my favorite guy is Dave Wengrowski, and it's Quality Woods, I believe, is his website. He's local to here. He has beautiful stuff. Almost all of the figured wood that you see on my guitars has come from Dave. And nobody wields a bandsaw like that guy. That dude is an absolute Jedi.
Thanks, Henry. He says, great advice, Bright. If you were serious about a pursuit, be serious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this morning.
Yeah, don't buy garbage tools, because all that means is that you're going to buy them twice.
And also, you gotta make all your decisions by reminding yourself that you have to take it as seriously as possible. And because this morning we had a little conversation while we were setting up about the fact that we're both guys who like issued the 40-hour a week kind of work drone thing.
Yeah.
And I am not knocking anybody who has a full-time job, especially if that's like fine for you. But I'm one of those people who's built in such a way that sounds like really miserable for me. And so, you spend your whole life going, hey, I do this thing for I do this thing for a living. And they'll go, oh, well, what do you do for work? And I go, I already told you, I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I do. And I don't do something else, because if I did something else, it would mean I would be taking this less seriously. So I spent my whole life gambling on being able to eventually make it work.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you've been doing.
Yeah, it's like my past, at least 8 years, I mean, I would like to say 20 years, 21 years, has been, I've been essentially working one job overtime in order to pay to do another job. And like in doing so, like it destroys so much of your other parts of your life. It's like, when do I have time to do laundry?
Yeah.
When do I have time to go food shopping? Because you're working between 12 and 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then when you try to lay down, it's like punishing your mind, and you can't even get to sleep.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, being 2 weeks in as a full-time guitar building luthier, this was my dream. This is what I've always wanted to do. Being 2 weeks, and fingers are crossed that we're gonna make it through it. 2 weeks into it, I have found so much solace in my life, where it's like I sleep better. Like I don't have these like thoughts of like designs, and then I have to like hop up and spend 2 hours like tweaking stuff, in order to get it down. No, it's not that I'm less haunted. It's that I wake up on Monday morning and I do CAD work, and then I wake up on Tuesday and I do CAD work.
Yeah.
I wake up on Wednesday.
The thing you have to fight for time to get.
Exactly.
Is now
so
the thing
now,
you're supposed to do.
Yes, and I can already see the change in my life, but like in a lot of ways, like like the damage is already done.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways in my life, because it's like like I just turned 40, okay, and I look back at my past 20 years, and I have done nothing. I have been so dedicated to this that I have watched every other piece of my life just like go by the wayside, because this is what I do, and it's like, and you go through this like really intense, it's like about being like an artist. You go through this like really intense like times where it's like you want to quit. But the only reason, like one of the main reasons that I never quit is that I have so much, it's like, number one, I do love this, okay? Like that is I do love this. But the reason that I've never given up is because I'm so deep into it.
How do you even back out?
If I back out now, my whole life is a failure.
You're folding your entire adulthood up and going, well...
Yeah, well, I wasted those 20 years. Now let me go be a plumber, or nothing wrong with being a plumber. It's just that I've dedicated 20 years of my life to literally like a job, to being a luthier. And like luthiery is such a tough art form to be in, because I constantly say, I teach a lot of people how to do this stuff. And the one message I give to everybody is like, I tell everybody, I'm like, look, don't be that guy. Most of your people involved in luthiery have a really hard time pricing their work.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's an undercutting business. I've been doing this for 21 years.
There's always a guy who will do it for less.
Okay. There's always a guy who will do it for less.
Oh boy, does every band understand that problem.
It is so easy to hang a shingle up and say, I am doing this, I repair guitars, I build guitars. Okay? But it's very hard to dedicate enough time to actually doing either one of those two things correctly.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said earlier, the most powerful tool you have in the shop is your mind.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't like when I design guitars, do I look back at guitars made over the past 70 to 100 years? Of course I do.
Yeah, you'd almost have to.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't. Is that I use that as a suggestion,
Yeah.
and then from there, I look back on like the physics of like how does a string operate.
Right.
So it's like, and you learn it, and it's like, you know, guitars are based on math.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aren't most things?
Yeah, most things. Yeah,
Yeah.
most things are.
Yeah. Music is
And-
math too.
Yeah, and you know, and that math tells you that there are certain ways that things just should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a feel thing. Every guitar I make is drastically different from the next.
But
When
symmetry
you-
and geometry will play a role in every guitar.
Well, mainly it's like how does your guitar play? Like, you know, it's like when you brought a guitar over here to get set up.
Right.
How was it before and how was it after?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and the difference is
Cleanest, fastest setup I've ever seen.
And the difference between those two things was that I straightened out his guitar so that the math was correct, because your fret wire is laid out in a specific way,
Right.
using a math formula.
Yeah.
And then everybody has tons of opinions on how this should be or how that should be, and that's great. The problem is that certain ways you do it, the math is wrong. Your guitar will not play in tune.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of gray area, and there also is a little bit of the area.
It's like there are tolerances. Like the guitar
Yes.
can handle this range of things,
And-
where in this range is your happy place.
And there's also a little bit in there of like, we live in a physical world.
Oh,
Nothing
sorry,
is
Veronica.
Nothing is actually perfect. But,
There's a mini game live in my show where people can do this thing called a heist.
Okay.
And they're just basically playing a mini game
Yeah.
for fake money that they
Uh-huh.
can spend on my show. And Veronica started a heist, and no one joined, and so it just said Blooms in the night took a nap. So there was no help. Got a couple of great things in the chat too.
hey, thanks everybody for tuning in, by the way.
Yeah,
This is a lot of
absolutely.
fun.
Fletch in Infinity Terminus says Wood Salvage will eventually net me a guitar or a custom synth case. When I get back in Philly, maybe we can talk circuit design to complement the wood. I'm down for that conversation anytime, dude. That sounds interesting as hell to me.
Hey, what is this?
Fletch is a hardcore dyed-in-the-wool music guy.
Yo, Fletch, come stop by, man. We got cool stuff going
Yeah.
on over here. I'd love to meet you.
And he said wood salvage. I guess for him, wood salvage, a thing he's got his eye on eventually is a guitar or a synth case, and I think that's because Fletch and his daughter have been doing. I'm gonna blank on the name of the genre, but they've been doing this really cool kind of electronic music project together for a while.
But yo, finishing off that last conversation,
Yeah.
I am so happy. Like, it's like finally, like the past 2 weeks, I finally feel the weight of having to work 2 jobs in order to, you know, support this dream, like, lifted. And I can't tell you how much more productive I am in all aspects.
Of course.
You know, it's like I feel like a whole person again. It's great.
That's what Henry was saying over here. I eventually ripped that safety net out from under myself. Because he said over here that gives you the motivation because you don't have that thing to fall back on.
Yeah.
And I did that to myself on purpose at one point because I was working I was working in a admissions department for a school, and I had to cover my tattoos and wear a tie,
Yeah.
the whole thing, and I
can't see you in a tie.
I was miserable. I mean, I'll wear a tie for fun, for style. I'll mess it up or whatever. But I wasn't happy, and my wife was just like, dude, like, go play music or I'm out.
Yeah.
And she told me that. She was like, if you're not playing music, you're not yourself, and if you're not the guy that I fell in love with, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I want you to go do the thing that you want to do. So I ripped that safety net out from under myself, and I have been poor for most of the time since, but getting through it and
it's tough to
building a little at a time.
It's tough to break through that wall.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a long time.
And it's about dedication. Henry said, I've seen guys turn down bookings that would have been so much exposure for them because the travel was too far
exposure.
or some other excuse.
I love that word.
Now it depends. Is exposure the only thing on offer, or is it exposure plus, like if a place is going to cover my travel and throw me a little honorarium, and there's going to be, hundreds or of people to watch me at least, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wants me to go play for just exposure, I have a thing I always say. I go, don't you know that people die of exposure? So there is a balance there.
I've had people literally blast me on the internet for not wanting to give them a guitar. It's like,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, man, like,
that is
ridiculous. Like,
if you know an artisan or a creator and they're your friend, this is actually a pet peeve of mine too, because I do have, and I'm going to use the word friends loosely, because if this isn't you, please know I am not talking about you.
Talking about the friend discount?
Yes, I'm talking about the friend entitlement thing, where it's just like, listen, if I offer to produce a record for you, or play on an album for you, or I offer to do a writing piece for you, if I offer that to you, I mean it, take the discount. But don't ever make the mistake of assuming that kind of thing when you have friends who create, as many of us do. I could name a bunch of my friends who are creators and sewers and seamstresses and all kinds of things. And you know, I would never presume that any of those people would give me something for free because I'm their friend. If they offer it, that is how we met.
Yeah.
He offered me something because he knew I was in a tight spot.
During COVID, I realized that all the musicians were out of work and needed work on their instruments, but couldn't afford it because COVID. You know. So I just offered it out there. A mutual friend of ours got us in touch. He came out, and we've been, you know,
we've been friends
ever
since.
Swimmer ever since, you know.
Absolutely. And also to that note, and this is not in any way to like toot anybody's horn, but it's just about respect for what people do. Peter has offered several times since then to take care of something without accepting payment from me, and I've started slipping money into places before I leave here. And sometimes it's less than the work is worth, and sometimes it's more than the work is worth, depending on where I'm at. But it's all about making sure that he knows that there's value beyond like, hey, what can I get out of this?
Yeah, I always say that the friend discount is very funny because it always works towards. It never goes the other way. Like, people will never pay you double because you're friends. Right. But they will always
pay you half.
Yeah, they will always pay you half.
Right.
You know, like,
and that always amuses me because if
I'm doing it, that's what
exactly.
It's like
if I have a friend who's a creator and I'm capable of paying full price for their service, and I would have to pay full price to that service from a stranger on the internet, why would I pay my friend less than I would pay the stranger on the internet when I like my friend more? You know?
And art is so tough with that. Like, that's like
especially when your friends are hurting.
Yeah, that's like another level of the art industry that is just like, it's so tough because like it's like, for instance, like musicians, right?
Yeah.
Musicians are in general, like, a lot of musicians are fairly broke.
Yeah.
But they're the first people that will spend hours and hours and hours of their time organizing events to benefit something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they always. It's like you see.
I lost $75,000 to COVID, but I also raised like $1,500 for charity for the protesters, for the bail fund. I actually spent money to raise that money because I did a charity single and I had to pay to have production done on that. I had to pay. Although I didn't have to pay the mixing engineer because the same friend who introduced us covered that for us.
That's one thing that's very nice about this industry is that like most of the people in it just have giant hearts. Yeah. You know, and it is like, you know, and like how we were just talking about like the friend discount and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of times like I have this thing in my shop where it's like, if you are like a real artist, I know you're struggling.
Yeah.
It's the way it goes. Struggling artists generally can't afford me as a repair guy, but they need me more than the guy who is just playing in his bedroom.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, a lot of times I just take it and just like, hey, like, on the house, you know, like, I'm lucky enough to have been able to do this for 20 years and be supported by other artists, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So we got exposure plus compensation from Doc. Yes, exposure plus compensation. Doc. Henry says, referring to the thing he was talking about, there'd be payment, but the exposure part is that other promoters would be at the show. So while this one booking might not cover your rent all by itself, subsequent bookings from other promoters, that's different. That's not working for exposure. That's working for opportunity.
Yeah.
I get that. I get going, you know, like
And
my band wants to charge $2,000 for a booking, but we might take $800 for a booking if we know that
That's the right
festival or
spot,
whatever
yeah.
could lead to other things,
Mhm.
or we might even play it for free. We played
And
Winter
hey,
Dawn
dude,
for free.
Hey, dude, I send out some stuff for free sometime if
Yeah.
it's going to the right hands. You know?
In the current UK Europe scene, you can make a living quickly if you make yourself valuable, have a price, but realize you need to show people why you have that price before they will pay you the
Europe
price.
is different
Yeah.
from the United States.
Yeah.
You
I do
know?
think there's some relevance to that, though,
Dude,
of being
can't-
able to show why you're worth a certain amount.
I can't. I gotta keep I keep my lips fairly sealed here, but like so like being a luthier, like one of the most interesting things about being a luthier is that you see the music scene from a completely different
Sure,
lens
I would imagine.
than everybody. Like I say, like, you know, it's like this has been my full-time job for 21 years. At times, you are straight up the bartender
Yeah.
of the local music scene.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've known that bands are splitting, changing this one, so and so's, all these things that are going on before anything ever even happened.
Yep.
You know, and the trick is you just keep.
He
your
knew
mouth
I
shut.
was cutting a pandemic record before most people did.
Yeah, I hear a lot of stuff early too,
Yeah.
and I'm honest. You know, if what you're doing sucks, I will tell you.
Yeah.
And you can take it however you want. But you know, I don't usually cross that too much. And a lot of the artists I work with are pretty great. You know, but you know, in the music industry, like seeing what was the
We were talking about, do you say why it sucks, says Henry Higgins. Yeah, I'm
Oh.
sure he does.
Yeah.
We were talking
so
about the
I remember.
exposure.
I'm back on track. So there's actually like I hear this, and I'm not going to mention any
Of course,
names
no,
and
we
stuff
don't
like
do that here.
Yeah,
We're classy.
But I
Ish.
hear from musicians all the time, and there's like certain clubs that are like constantly screwing musicians out of like
Yep.
$50.
Yep.
It's like yo, you're paying.
You don't have to
them.
name names. I
It's
know what
like-
you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like these guys are out here investing their money, spending their time, doing all this stuff, and then they're going to a gig to make $100 for the band, and the bar's paying them $50. It's like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the thing is that they are allowed to keep doing it because when you decide, when you get burnt, and you're like, screw that, I'm not going to book there anymore. Somebody else jumps right in your seat
Yeah.
and will book there.
And that's the part of the problem when I was saying, like, you know, there's always somebody who'll do it for less. That's true with
Yeah.
bands, too, you know?
Yeah.
Again, my band commands a certain booking fee,
Mhm.
and we've earned the right to command a certain booking fee because we've proven ourselves. We've paid our dues. We have to say, this is our value and here is why, to go to Henry's point there. But typically, there's always some band full of guys who probably do have day jobs who are doing it for fun, who are willing to play
Yep.
places for, you know, beer
Yep.
tickets.
Yep.
And I go, you guys
Same thing in
need
the
your
luthiery
own venue. You need your own place. Get out of our space
Mhm.
because the people who need to make a living, you're going to venues and giving them this notion that they cannot pay bands.
Yes.
And venues
Yep.
are going to seize on that because this is capitalism, hello.
Yep.
And they're going to screw us out of money every chance they get.
That's why I tell every apprentice that I have, I'm always like, don't be the guy who undercuts everybody in order to get work. Do stellar work.
Don't be the guy who
Yeah.
finds out that such and such charges $85 for such and such procedure, and then be like, "Well, I'll do it for $75." Don't be that
It's more
guy.
like 50.
Yeah,
You
I know.
know, they're like 50. You're like, what?
Yeah, because you can't. At that point, you're not even making like you can't make money like that.
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
unless
It's tough.
all you did was wall-to-wall setups every day, 50
Yeah,
bucks a
dude,
setup is
well,
not going to
yeah.
cover your overhead.
The difference with, I mean, generally what I say is the difference. It's like a guitar setup is not like milk. Like if you go to Wawa and you get milk, it's milk.
Or they hire incompetent sound people, says Tech Bar Joe,
Yeah.
and it leads people to think a band is worse than they are. Don't get me started. So Tech Bar Joe is threatening to turn into Barbary Joe. Not to drop names, we're not knocking that club, but we did a gig at the Barbary where there was, let's just say, an issue with certain other persons present, and my band got cut off in the middle of not a set, a song.
Wow.
Who does that?
Yeah.
I think it ended up being a misunderstanding, and of course, I'm not in any way knocking any sound guy, venue,
Yo,
booking
speaking
agent,
of, are you gonna
whatever.
play a song?
Oh, I should probably, yeah, I should probably.
Yeah.
I tell you what, here's what I wanted to get back on track anyway, because we're getting toward the end of the show. So how about do do a little spiel for these guys about if they want to eventually get their hands on a GRT or a Recluse or whatever, what that process would look like and what that is for them, and I'll run out to my car and grab that.
So
I'll leave you with him for a second.
So if you're interested in any like Loudo guitars or anything, or seeing what we build in the future, go over to, right now we do not have our full website live. That will not be live until guitars are ready to go on sale. The way we are, if you've been watching the show here, as you know, I generally don't build to order, okay? But I do design with you in mind, whereas it's very easy to select what types of pickups. We make our own pickups. What types of pickups that you want in the guitar. If you want one with a humbucker and a single coil, yeah, we can definitely work with that because the guitars are built to be that way. But if you're interested in knowing what I do or what we do here and seeing what we do and just trying to, if it's a guitar that you might want to see in the future, head over to our website. It's www.loudoguitars.com. We have a mailing list on there. We will not spam you. I definitely will send you a message telling you to humidify your guitars on October 30th because you should be, with directions on exactly how to do it. So it's a little bit of a guitar tip, but we don't spam or anything like that. But we will notify you when guitars are becoming available, and anybody who signs up to the list, we are releasing a few guitars in mid-October, and they're going to be a first come first serve basis. We actually only took very, very minimal pre-orders, just because I didn't want to feel like I had to build something. I wanted to build what I wanted to build. So we took a few pre-orders. Everybody that signs up to our page there, to our mailing list, goes on a list, and then there will be a pre-sale for subscribers. So you will see the guitars we are releasing before they get completely released to the public. So head on over to www.loudoguitars.com.
Links in the chat.
Yeah, and sign up to the mailing list there. It would be great. And hey, we're just an American company. We're building the most American-made guitar you can make, and please help us keep this dream alive and get on to the next level,
Greg Johnson says, love that wood shop, great discussion. And we have a final question for you from Henry. Do you think it is better to be good at everything and decent in general, but excellent at one specific aspect of the job so that you become the go-to guy for one specific task? So I guess specialist versus generalist. I think it's a hard question for you because you seem to be so intense that you've tried to master it all.
Yeah, that's very hard. So I don't even think it comes down to like mastering one thing or anything. It's like what it really comes down to is the best thing that you can strive for is like what you accept as good enough. So like for instance, like in the way that I handle things, it's like I expect perfection out of everything that these hands touch, and I go after it. And if I'm not doing the job and it's not happening that way, I stop, I pull back, and then I look at it again. I have this saying that I tell everybody: if it's hard to do, you're doing something wrong. Okay, you gotta step back, break it down to a smaller piece, do that little small piece perfectly, and then move on to the next one. Do that small piece perfectly. Don't think about the next one. Once that's perfect, get to the next one. So that's actually hung me up quite a few times in guitar building, is because I've gotten to a point and I said, okay, this works, but it ain't perfect. So, I would say, yeah, that's a very tough thing to, but yeah, I think it is better to branch out. Like, luthiery is not just woodworking. It's like woodworking. It's like woodworking plus. But then also too, like we make our own truss rods. It's metalworking. We cut out
electronics.
Yeah, it's electronics. It's like don't learn guitar electronics.
Tell them where you get the pickups you put in your guitars.
Oh, me and my mother wind them.
There you go. That's a big one. I can't believe we forgot to mention that.
Yeah, designed and wound in house, and. My mother is a sweetheart too.
Joe says I have to stop playing this before he writes lyrics to it. You can't. It's somebody else's song already. Kinda.
Yo, I almost strangled him the other day. What was the song? I was like, Brett, you gotta play a special
R.E.M.
song. Like, and what was it though?
You said something about you accidentally said the title of an
I'll
R.
pull it up.
You said The One I Love.
Yeah.
But you meant the song I love, but I thought you meant The One I Love.
Let me see if I
R.E.M.
can find this here.
And you said, did you think I would ask you to play
That
R.E.M.?
was a hilarious.
Anyway, that's a David Bowie song that I was playing, kinda.
I love David Bowie.
It's based. I can't remember the lyrics, but.
Just text me in a
It's the one from Labyrinth. Yeah, it's the David Bowie song from Labyrinth. But I promised I would do a song to close us out. Oh, and by the way, Doc says he wants to talk about a Rosewood Deluxe.
Oh, of course he does.
Of course he does.
Yeah, because he does. Come by, Doc.
Yeah, you can come
After
over.
6 though, because that's actually not Loudo business. So I work until 6 o'clock on Loudo. After that, I am on my own time.
This was a great show. Please have Peter on. Yeah, we're friends. He'll be on again.
Yeah, and
I'll be on his.
He'll be on one of the first luthiery live shows as well.
All right, I'm gonna do a song, and we're gonna say goodbye at the end of it.
And if I can say one last thing,
Please
here,
do.
If you have people out there in your life that are chasing dreams, that are doing artists, they're artists or of any kind, support them. The struggle is real with in a lot of the art forms, and just keep that in mind. Like, one thing you never realize, and I can put it in perspective with my situation, is I have people that come into my shop, drop stuff off, and then will get on me hard in like 2-3 days, and it's like they're not the only person in the shop getting stuff done. It's like, always remember, be patient. Give them a little bit of space, because it's like, first and foremost, like, these people are humans first, and they have real feelings. They have other parts of their lives that they have to attend to, and most of the time, choosing a profession like this, those other pieces get sacrificed hardcore, so just keep that in mind and support them, go out there, throw them a tip. Every little bit goes a long way.
Y'all know how I feel about tipping.
Yeah, take care of this guy.
And I think Doc should get a GRT Deluxe. But what do I have?
That's what I think too.
I think he should get a Rosewood GRT.
I want a Fender.
Yeah, I mean Fender makes those, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just cut out a GRT and tell him to come pick it up.
He would too. He'd love it. Anyway, this is a song I need lyrics to in front of me, because I still don't have it memorized. It's one line. I could see it from there. Wow. You know what? Maybe. Let me see.
You got some good eyesight.
Yeah. You know what? I'm good. Dude, I can read the chat without leaning over from here. But all right. Anyway, this is
carrots.
This is a new one. I've only played this live on the show once before. I'm really digging it right now, and yeah, here we go. So thank you guys for tuning in to Comedown Sunday mornings. This is Peter Brown from Loudo Guitars. I am Brett Kelly, and this is You Want to Apologize, but You Don't. I've been afraid for longer than I ever wanted to admit. I've been a bottom feeder, I've been a piece of shit. I told more lies than Clinton, Nixon, and Odysseus combined. I've been a shameless heathen, I've been out of my mind. You wanna apologize, but you don't. Wanna apologize, but you don't. I don't know why, maybe you know why I hate myself sometimes. When it's right in your face, drag your name through the mud, you know you wanna disgrace you're saying you're sorry. You wanna apologize, but you don't. I broke in windows 'cause I wanted what was on the other side. I've been a hungry dog, I been scumbag certified. I don't know, maybe you know why I lose myself sometimes. When there's a ray in your face, drag your name through the mud, you know you wanna disgrace everything. When it's easier than saying you're sorry. You don't apologize, but you don't. This progression I call the this progression is totally stolen. It's more than a feeling. When I hear that old song play, which I find myself doing that a lot. I can't unhear when the progression's gonna sing. That's what I said. There's only a few variants.
You know.
All right, here's the big finish, y'all.
Technically 11.
You wanna apologize, but you don't. You wanna apologize, but you don't. You wanna apologize, but you don't. You wanna apologize when it's right in your face. Drag your name through the mud. You know you wanna disgrace everything, 'cause it's easier than saying you're sorry. You wanna apologize, but you don't. Thank you guys for tuning in.
My hair stands up whenever I hear you sing, man.
Thanks, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
that. And thank you, Leo, for hanging out.
Yeah, so speaking of, just finishing up here,
Yeah, man.
this guy and this guy are probably two of my favorite things that happened from the pandemic. So we did have a rough year last year. Who knows how next year's going to be? Let's all cross our fingers. Let's be there for each other and look to the positives. If it wasn't for that pandemic, me and him would have never met.
It's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I would have never gotten this little guy. So
We will see you guys around. We're going to do a Leo Zoom to close the show. He's going to come right on the camera, and I'm going to say goodbye.
later.